Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Be the Media Huntington, the Huntington View. Tonight is January 23rd, and I'm Jenny Lee, and I'm here tonight with Dana
Hi, guys.
and Lisa,
Hi, everyone.
and we've had quite a day today. We had a meeting, we went to a town board meeting, we've been trying to figure out what we're going to do for all of our viewers in the upcoming 2018 year for us, but I have to say, I think we're all a little shell-shocked. We were running about 15 minutes late because we all went to the town board meeting tonight. And I hashtag shell-shocked.
I don't even know where
It
to
was
start.
very interesting. The town. Let me just start with the positives. I'll start with that. I was pleasantly surprised that the meetings were not as abrupt as they've been in the past. The supervisor was extremely pleasant. He seemed to be going back to his jolly, normal self. And that's how he came about. He was very, he executed his points very well. I was surprised about that because he was a little bit different during his campaign, but it just looks like he's back to his old self.
He messed up once, and Mark didn't miss that chance to give him a right in his side. Did you notice that when he got one of the resolution numbers wrong? And Mark was like, "Oh, look, it's the new supervisor."
Yeah, and that was the down part of that was Mark's behavior. I don't know.
Throw his arms back like, oh.
It's hard to explain because I think
can't even be bothered.
Dina and I both kind of want to take everyone through the meeting beginning to end, but we're so shell-shocked because we're so in Mark's behavior at the end. So I just do. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Lisa, how was it when you first checked in? You had to hand in your ID and...
Yeah, I don't need my ID to vote, but I needed my ID to go sit in the town board meeting, which always annoys me. And went in nicely, and I guess that went smoothly. I was a little too close. I sat in the front row, and everybody just looked a little bit bigger. Mark, I was a little afraid. I was like, oh, God, I'm so close.
Well, Daniel Carpin wasn't allowed in. I started getting text messages.
Really?
And now this is a man who's been coming down to town hall for 30 years. He's the man with the wooden shoes. The clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that why the security guards ran over to
got thrown out like 3 years ago? Now we all know he has autism. They had never checked the bags before. They had never asked for ID before. These are things that they had put in over time. And he went to a town board meeting one night, and they grabbed his bag, and they grabbed him. And he's the kind of person you just don't touch, like, this about who he is. He's been going there for 30 years. He was never a problem. He's just always very flamboyant and very creative. He's a good, sweet soul. So they went to search him, and they grabbed him, and he instinct bit the police officer, which I don't even know why they had police officers that night at the town board meeting, but he ended up in jail. They ended up dropping the charges against him in jail. But Frank Petrone, who's not there anymore, had a restraining order against him. So I don't understand now that Frank's gone why he's not allowed back in. But I just, I felt that needed to be said because the security has increased so much. Like Lisa was saying, you need a driver's license to get in now. And they give you a tag. Do either of you still have your little taggy from tonight?
Yes.
I
think I have mine. Hold on.
And I had asked the man, is there a list? Because
can you see it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Everything's
That's my little tag.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like when you think about what people they talk about in the conspiracy theories of, having the barcodes on people. Basically, when you walk into that building, you're being barcoded.
And then they say you have to check out. You have to put your ID underneath that little scanner thing, and I guess check out. So now what do they do if you just forget? You just walk out. Then what do they do?
I forgot.
Come to your house?
I guess we'll find out. Maybe I'll get my my red light ticket for not passing go on the way out in the mail, like I get all these other ones. So, Dina, the positive stuff. Let's get back to the positive stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just so with Mark. So go back.
I know it was just, I think what I would suggest is a lot of people were up in arms about the town clerk. And what I believe, I learned so much tonight, even though it was a little tedious because there was so many speakers about the same thing. Yeah. But what I learned tonight, it justifies why they feel as though you may not want to keep turning the town clerk over, because you really you won't fully learn the job ever, apparently. However, 36 years is a long time.
No doubt.
So at what point
what if she dies?
Stop?
Like, what if she dies?
Yeah, no, God forbid. Yeah, no, it's true.
No, please don't. I love her. She's a great woman. But
you're right. God forbid something should happen to her, then that other person hasn't even had the opportunity to even have any type of apprenticeship with her at all. Right. So how are they going to learn? They're going to be like, you're going to put them starting behind the 8 ball. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. But what I did is I got a great appreciation for exactly what the town clerk does and why they're so adamant about not changing who she is or who the town clerk is at the time. They don't make any.
It should be appointed.
Right. And they don't really make any significant policies or change anything. They just keep the town records. Right. My thing is that I don't think you're going to have too many people running to do that job. It seems like an awful, awful lot of work.
Well, they kept bringing up term limits, and yet nobody runs against her. Who's going to run against Joanne Rea? But nobody, I think what was so tedious is what was upsetting to me is I'm all for Joanne Rea staying. I've always said put these term limits on the policymakers, and that's why this never gets passed, even though it passed tonight. It never gets passed usually because the policymakers are it's plus Joanne, and they've always gotten up and said that, and it's a legitimate reason why it shouldn't be. However, they lined up everybody who works in the department to read a letter from another town's
clerk.
Right. And it's like, you have a letter from the clerk from all these towns stating, okay, of course they're going to say in their oath that how important this is, but they don't get a vote in our town. It's just an unfair game to pull. Like, she has enough support in this town where she didn't need to have anybody stand up and read those letters from every single one. Again, I adore her. She's a great person. I hope she lives forever, truth be told. But to me, it's just stinky. You don't invite, it's carpet bagging. You don't invite people who don't live in your town to voice an opinion on the town record. It's unfair.
And they probably would have done better, in my opinion, because if I'm an attorney, of course I'm going to get all the other attorneys to say what I want them to say, because we're in the same. I think it would have been better if you had genuine people that just came out and said, this is why we think, from the town. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would have made a better impact as opposed to all these town clerks, because birds of a feather flock together. I'm not going to be a town clerk and say, oh, yeah, you should. No, why would I do that? I think it would have had a better impact.
Much better, like you said. I agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah. So I because it was after a while, it was like beating a dead horse. I was like, okay, how many times are you going to talk about it? I get it.
You notice the one person on the town board who took that opportunity to insult and bash her and bash Joanne Rea and made fun of her and laughed and giggled at her. Did you see the gentleman who did that?
Did she threaten to sue first, or did Mark say you're going to be the first one to sue the town?
Chad said it.
Chad said it?
Yeah. Chad said you might be the first.
Oh God, it was just so. That's why I'm like, I can't even believe that that's what happened at the end.
No, but I don't think she was annoyed at what Chad said. I think she was annoyed at the comment Mark made. I didn't get it. Really. I didn't get it. But one thing I'll say about Joan Reyes, she's always very classy. She never gives the rebuttal of like, But she was, her response was classy. She said that was uncalled for and it was unnecessary. And he
she
said,
was hurt by what he said, clearly.
But he voted knowing it was going to pass. He voted for it as a Democrat, as somebody who was never going to vote for this before. He voted for it, made sure that she knew it was a big to her. It was unremarkable.
That was distasteful. That was distasteful.
It was.
We'll have to make sure that we highlight that video next week when we come back, because we're probably still going to be mad about it.
Yeah, and his, honestly, and this is, I know everyone has their opinion of Mark. Mark Cuperson, he's extremely intelligent. I've had conversations with him. He's a wealth of knowledge. However, his deliverance and his demeanor takes away from all of that. And I've heard people talk about him many, many, many times before. I really never had anything to say because I didn't see that side of him. However, I saw it tonight. Yeah. You're laughing at things that are just inappropriate. You're flinging your arms. You're going back and forth. It's like, unless you have ADD or you have some type of disability that needs to be disclosed to all of us so we can have a better understanding, your behavior is totally inappropriate for a town council person.
And he kept flicking himself.
Yeah.
Did you see that whole thing? It was like he was sadistically hurting himself on purpose.
Yeah, unfortunately, that behavior takes away from a lot of things.
It takes away from his actual intelligence.
Yeah, it does.
He took the chance to disrespect her in front of the town board meeting, and he was successful with it. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was just being a little disrespectful person.
I don't know if he was successful, because a lot of people, he may have said it and he may have felt
successful at being disrespectful.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, what?
Successful
what are you talking about?
Rude,
yeah.
Obnoxious.
I was like, why was that even necessary? That was
so distasteful.
Out of the park. But
he was proud of himself.
Yeah, I was a little turned around about that. That was definitely an eyesore on everything, unfortunately.
And it wasn't just when he went at it with John Rhea. Throughout, you can see
the entire,
other people are speaking. When he gets bored, he wears it on his sleeve. He's a very visual person, and it just I get it. I get a little bored sometimes. I yawn, but I don't.
Thank God, because that's rude. And guess what? I'm sorry.
He wants him to see it.
But I'm sorry, you ran for office. This is not your first year here. This is not your second year here. You know what a town board meeting is like. You know that you may not be interested in every single topic, but hey, that's what you were elected to do. Listen to the gripes, give your opinion, make your votes. That's your job. That's what you're paid for. So
I wouldn't want that job. I got to tell you, listening to some of those poor people who are like, we bought our homes with a certain zoning and we have 50 signatures. And I'm like, I feel bad that I'm like mocking at this point, but I've lived it. Like
5,000 signatures.
We had how many petitions? Elwood had how many? 5,000. We had 5,500 Avalon Bay. Ain't nothing stopping it. Nothing will stop it. It's done. There's nothing you can do to stop it at this point.
Yeah.
So term limits was a big one. That was a big one with Joanne. Mostly everybody speaking out in her defense.
I gotta tell you though, I am not a fan of term limits. Let me tell you why. And it's like, I hate to be like the oddball out, but this is why I'm not a fan of term limits. If someone is good at a job, then why take it away from them? Now, I'm not talking. I'm putting aside corruption. I'm putting aside hiring all the good old boys. I'm putting all of that aside. What I'm basing my statement off is if we have a good, clean election and the politician is put into place and they do what they need to do year after year with minimal complaints, because if you have no complaints, then you're an alien and we don't need you. But if you have minimal complaints, I don't see the need to always want, as long as you have your election, then you the local election is as good as an election as you're going to get. So I'm really not a fan of term limits because also I think certain projects you need years to see come to light. That's
So,
my thoughts.
so you would approve of Donald Trump having a third term?
Here is my here no here is we all know
Because I
Jenny
would
and I.
not have approved of Barack Obama. In fact, I would not have approved of Barack Obama having a third term, and I would never approve of Donald Trump having a third term, and I'm one of his biggest cheerleaders.
I think when you have an election, a local election, because unfortunately in the national election, the electoral college at the end of the day picks who governs us. So that's really not really, I can't really speak to that if I would agree with a third term. But for a local election, I think that is your term limits. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, vote him out. But
So
if you are doing what you're supposed to do, then keep him in.
tonight we heard a lot about institutional knowledge. And institutional knowledge is garnered. You start your learning. I always say the PTA is the lowest form of government that we have. We elect our PTA representatives. There's no term limit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, we're termed out at 2 years. And you learn, you learn all about that. You learn Robert's Rules of Orders, which is how the basis of all of them. And then you start to step up from there, and you either decide whether you're going to go join the school board or not. And then many people from that point then decide whether they would like to perhaps run for a more local office, town board. They are garnering institutional knowledge by moving up. So I believe in term limits because if you want to stay in politics, there is a ladder for you to climb. And if you are that good, you should be elevated on a constant basis and allow room for new people to gain that talent as well.
Okay. I believe in term limits to an extent. And because I believe in some cases, not all, obviously, but in a lot of cases, I think that if you are a politician and you've been there for umpteen years, then you become really good at all of it. You get really good at the corruption. You get good at, getting donations, friends of friends of friends, and then that becomes easier to win elections, in my opinion.
Well, look at some of the Congress people we have and how long that they've been there. It's
sure.
just, I mean, when you look at something like that, and when you're serving 30 years and stuff like that, it's now a career. So the incentive is to go in and build a career, and then you have a pension. We shouldn't be paying for anybody's pension. No one, nobody. Everyone should have a job that they fall back on after they are done performing their community service. I don't think the position should be paid. None of it.
We're not gonna. I don't think that would fly because we're not gonna get anybody to really effectively run our country without getting paid. That's just not good. They're gonna be like, huh?
Donald Trump isn't getting.
Listen, Trump gets all the fringe benefits he wants.
Okay? I know he was a billionaire going in. I get it.
So he already has.
Dude, I got like 10 years service with the PTA. No, I never get paid. I get lunch once a year. Volunteer lunch.
See, that's what they say. That's your payment. You get that lunch once a year. That's it. That's all we're paying you. Nothing else. So I mean, term limits are good, and they have their ups and downs, I guess.
They do. They have their pros and cons. They sure do.
I have to say they do. But you're right. The best term limit, if you don't have term limits, is just voting those bastards out. Every time I see an incumbent, I'm like, unless I really like them, but that's far between. Other things that were on the town board meeting. They pulled the appointments. They were going to be appointing people tonight.
Yeah, and nobody was appointed.
No, the person that was appointed was the deputy town attorney.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel Martin. And then this big, I'm not going to do that again. It screws up the camera every time I do. But there's this long paragraph right here.
Last one, yeah.
This one was pulled with all these names on it. Some of them I really, really think is great. Some of them I'm not so sure about. And then the director for the Huntington Community Development Agency, she was sitting behind you tonight, Dina. Leah Jefferson. Do you know her?
I do not know her. I guess I should extend a little hello to her. I heard her first tonight, so I did get a chance to see her. So that was good.
Okay.
What did they appoint James Caden to?
Hold on. Oh, it's just an audit committee. He's got to do an audit on the books with Mark, which please, really. Okay, so then there was a big one right here. See where I circled?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Public hearing for a zone change. Commercial to residential. So I'm going to look into this one and find out where this is, and I'll go stalk it like I do all the other ones. But interesting to know.
That's the way
So, right? We've been doing those videos this week, just getting down in the areas where people want to see and just taking them and showing them. And we've been getting, like, we get almost 2,000 views on those on Facebook. It's crazy that there's people are so driven by the whole development aspect of this. But here's who they were thinking of appointing, but they pulled it. Appoint various directors and deputy directors for the town of Huntington. Reference Andre Sorrentino for the director of the Department of General Services. I support that one. Peter Samus, director of the Department of Public Safety. Joseph Rose, the deputy director for the Department of Public Safety. He was there before. Greg Wagner, the director of the Department of Parks and Recs. That's a new one. William Musto, the deputy director of the Department of Parks and Recreation. John Clark, director of the Department of Environmental Waste Management, which is the sewage plant. And Matthew Loud, deputy director of the Department of Environmental Waste Management. John Clark ran for the highway department.
I like John Clark, though. I'm not going to say
I did
anything.
too. I
like
said
him.
this guy should be the
I did too.
everything. He was super smart. But can I also point out he was just elected to the Green Lawn Water District. He was running for the highway department and the water at the same time. He didn't get the highway, but he got the water. So he's the water commissioner for Green Lawn, and now he's getting appointed to, I mean, he's basically going to be shit and water at this point because it's a sewer plant.
No, Jenny, no.
It is. That's the best way to look at it, clean and dirty. Right?
Oh my God, I can't with her. Lisa, get her.
Environmental waste management. That's what that is. I know.
Lisa, help me with her, please.
I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
Clean and dirty.
But it makes a good point. Yeah.
He's clean and he's dirty. I don't know what to make. I mean, there's so many ways we got to interview this guy.
We got to order and you got to wash off the,
Because when I saw him, I was really impressed with him when he was answering all those at the debates at the NAA.
Yeah.
He was so smart. I remember I said he could be the CEO of everything.
Yeah,
I like.
I was really
Clark.
impressed by the first time I saw him. The first time I saw him at a debate. I like everything he said.
Clark had a way about him that I appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, speaking about highway, how do you like those potholes? You like driving down New York Avenue, going like this with your wheel, like this.
It's so ridiculous.
We're going to give them some time. They haven't been in that long, but technically it's been they were 20 days. And the winter just totally trashed the roads.
But it's been really nice out. The weather's been really decent. Why aren't those potholes filled in? How actually long does it take to fill in a damn pothole when you got all these guys in these trucks driving all around?
Feeling it.
I know they work hard, but come on.
Our roads need to be scraped up and relayed. They better. That's why I've been really praying for, on a federal level, the infrastructure plan, because that starts to filter the money to the states and down into the towns. And if so, we could start, saying, yes, there has to be money that's allocated. You have to apply for it for our roads to be repaved. So our roads are a trend. They're horrible. In fact, Lisa, we put you up to a task this week to go out and find us some potholes. And how did that go there? You posted on social media, you posted on a few pages, and you asked people to find you some potholes so that we could broadcast them here tonight. How did it go?
Not everyone answered correctly, but yeah, I got a couple of comments that said, how about every road? I extra a couple of specific potholes in specific locations, and it's all throughout. It's everywhere. That's really, that's the gist. It's really everywhere.
Really
And
is.
then a couple
That's
of
what it
comments
is.
were, instead of posting on social media, why don't you just call the town? That's not what I was getting at. I wanted people to physically write down where are your potholes, so that we could even go and visit some of them and take some pictures. I'm sure they're still going to be like that by the time we get to it.
So I got an anonymous, well, it wasn't anonymous to me, but the person wishes to remain anonymous. I got a hint from somebody as to where we should go find something in our town that's really dangerous that needs to be looked at. So I had an opportunity to video it.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring you guys over here to see what we found this week.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
And you were kind of crazy to go up so close to it. That could have caved in.
West 22nd Street.
And
Can you hear that?
And we've been talking about
Yes.
a lot. We just wanted to bring you this atrocity. The reason why it's an atrocity is because it's a potential death for a child. So if you can see the cracks in the asphalt, you'll see that the road is starting to give way towards this dump. So here, I'm going to show you the really scary part. I'm actually really nervous to step on here, but you can kind of see the huge dip and how it's dipping in. I'm going to show you the reason why it's dipping in and pray for my life. So you can see the pipe here, and then you can also see that there's nothing holding, no wall behind here, which is why this is such a hazard.
That's why it's dipping.
How did they build it like that, though?
They didn't. It's deteriorated over time. That's why the road is starting to cave down now.
Dipping down here.
It was fine at one point. That's why the gap is so wide. It'll fit a human.
Yeah.
So right there, the gap is so large now.
Small pig.
And it's all kind of just riding into this. So it's one of those things that the town of Huntington Highway Department, it's one of their roads, needs to address.
So I did. I went down there.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Whoa. Where are we? We good?
I don't know if it's working all the way up.
Love when this happens.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. I got it. That's when I was testing the microphone for us tonight.
But it's January 23rd, and we can't use any more excuses like, oh, well, they just got in. And this, I'm sure these are on the books. I'm sure people have complained about them. I'm sure they have a whole big book of what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, but there's just one person elected. Look at when we went in there tonight and we looked around that room, AJ Carter is still there. There's a lot of faces that still belong to a lot of the people who are no longer there. So you've got one person trying to lead people who they don't agree with politically. That's not a very easy situation to step into, to try to think that you are even going to get things done. That's why I've said it a couple of the local deep state. The deep state's a real thing when you take over. I don't see a lot of people getting fired and rehired. In fact, they pulled it off the agenda tonight to appoint certain people.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Well, I think they want to appear fair. Joan has to be able to go through whoever it is she needs to go through. I think, and they said Mark as well, to give them more time to make their selection. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, let's give them a little bit more time to get adjusted, because even though it was Chad's first time, that big snowstorm, he reacted fairly quickly. He seemed to be up on it. So in all fairness, the same way I treat Trump and his administration, I don't care for him, but I'm not going to hope that they do bad because I live in their country. So I'm not going to hope this administration fails because I live in the town that they're governing. So I want to give them a little bit of time, but I do agree with Lisa when it comes to the point that there's certain things out there that they should have already known because they live here. Chad's been here for a very long time. And I focus on Chad because I've known Chad for some time and I've worked with him and I know kind of where he comes from. So he should know certain things. But at the same token, if you actually, like, you to touch on what Jenny just said, if you sit down and you go to a town board meeting, he's one supervisor. Even though he has his constituents with him, he's one supervisor and he has to hear everything and try to address everything fairly. So I'm willing to give him a little bit more time to address these potholes, and definitely that little sinkhole that you just showed, because there's nothing holding that up. So God forbid something that's too heavy goes over it.
Like a Lilco truck.
Yeah, like, I mean,
it's something
you could
like
have a big sinkhole.
A town employee, town truck. You're right in.
So, I mean, you know, they have to, as long as, my thing is that if you bring it to their attention and it's still not done within a feasible amount of time, I'm not talking about the next day, but, you know, give them enough time to acknowledge it, look at it, and come up with a solution. Then we can say, okay, well, listen, we told you about it. We pointed out, we gave you time, and it's still not done.
Right.
We definitely need to send it over and not assume that, you know, they're all watching our show with bated breath.
I have a quick question, Jenny. It's a quick question. At the very beginning of the meeting, they had said Mark and Joan need more time to appoint and choose somebody. My question is, sorry, I don't know the answer to this, but why is it just Mark and Joan? Why doesn't Jean have a say, or Ed?
I think they all do, and I think that they're looking around at, like, they didn't get enough of a fair shake, because there's a lot of negotiations. Like, people will get used as pawns. So, you know, Jean could put somebody up and say, I want this person, but that person's now has to be agreed to by other people. And they're going to say, okay, well, you approved my person in this department, and then I'll give you this person and this person. So that's when they start sitting around and doing that, I'm sure. That's, you know, without a doubt, that's part of negotiations and what happens with these things.
And also, I'm pretty sure that if you are running for something like a town supervisor, town council, you pretty much have the hopes that you're going to win. So you already have your team that you want to put in place. I don't know why Mark needed more time, but I could certainly understand why Joan needed more time, because she didn't campaign for anything. She was thrown in. She got her position. So I would understand why, you know, and I think that it speaks to the administration that they acknowledge that she may need more time, as opposed to just saying, here, this is what you have, this is what you have to work with. So, I mean, but I would agree, why didn't, you know, everyone, but then at the same token, Gene's been there, so I'm sure he knows who he wants to put in there. And Chad and Ed Smith, who were already, you know, thinking about if they won, they knew who they wanted to have. So I don't think they needed as much time. Yeah. That's just my thoughts on it. I could be wrong, but that's how I viewed it.
Well, they're going to be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll have something then.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, are they always going to be on Tuesdays? God, I hope there's more 2 o'clocks.
Yeah, no, this late night thing is not. I mean, I guess, but you know,
it's 1 day a week.
You can't really complain. Yeah, because, you know, if they had it all during the day, people will complain. If they had it all at night, people will complain. So to do one in the day and one at night, I think is reasonable.
It works. So not everybody can make it to all of them all the time. I do love what they passed about the live streaming that they want to. Now you don't have to wait like 24 to 48 hours for them to put it up on the website. It's going to be live streamed and then captured. I love that option. Love it.
Yeah. So. That's good. That's good. But did you hear about the disclaimer? If you sign up for that's one thing I didn't know, and I'm glad the gentleman brought it up. If you sign up for the information, like what's going on in the town, or like the snow blizzard that we just had, they sell your information to a third party. I didn't like that. I mean, I get enough crap in the emails. Like, why would I want to do that?
Yeah, that was.
And it says, you know, we do sell it, so it's not like maybe they said it. So,
yeah, but it's unfair. Like, you're putting me in a position now where I have to give you my information and agree to selling it to find out about the emergency alerts.
I'll wait for my neighbor to tell me.
I'll look outside.
I don't. Yeah, I don't need
Facebook will
Lupita
tell me.
from
I
wherever
won't look
calling me.
outside if it's bad. I probably shouldn't go anywhere.
Right. I'll use common sense.
Yes, common sense usually works.
Log into the Huntington View. We'll tell you.
That's it. We'll put our little camera outside. We'll be like, it's bad. Don't go.
Stay home.
It's dark out. It's overcast.
I always say that with the parents that wait for the superintendent to close school. You can close school. You're allowed to be like, you're not going to school today, kiddo.
Sorry.
I like that idea.
It's my judgment.
Exactly. You're allowed to make your own
judgment. So, and then the next thing that they had that I thought was pretty interesting was it was two things. I'll touch on the first one. The new home. When they said group home, I thought they meant like a group home for kids or something, but it's a group home for people with disabilities,
right? But it's not
adults. Yep. Special,
but it's adults. I don't really know. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna go visit the site. I want to see what it looks like.
Tammy is awesome. I would like Tammy Capel. It's funny. I heard her name and I go, blast from my past. I know this name. And she's been running Kids Plus with the SEPTAs, the special education, and all those other things. She's been very involved in the community and whatnot. So I just don't see her. First of all, there's a huge need. Imagine you have a child with special needs, which I do, and they need to be placed in a group home. And there isn't a group home. There's a small facility over at DDI. They've done a little bit over there, but there's not enough. So can you imagine having to put your child with special needs in an adult home that's in another state? Because New York State just isn't doing it. Like, one of the closest ones was Connecticut last I looked. And we were around for the DDI one. I forget how many beds. I don't even want to say how many beds that they made. But they've had no problems. I mean, what are people scared of? Special needs adults? You've got Huntington Station with the gangs and that, but you could with the special needs adults are a problem.
That's now that to me is definitely typically a NIMBY. I'm sorry, because when they said group home, my first reaction was, no, I don't want no daggone kids. I have enough time trying to raise my own rugrats that are teenagers now, and 2 are adults. No, I don't want kids that have problems. But these are disabled people with disabilities. What are they gonna do?
She also cut the square footage down from 10,000 square feet to 6,000. She's almost cut it in half. So, and then they get up and they say how she's not working with the community at all. She cut the project in half. Like,
well, I didn't agree with that part. Like, if this people next door to her, reach out to them. People, you can satisfy people with the bare minimum. Don't let them find out about a meeting that you're having.
She didn't get to respond to the accusations. You don't know what happened there.
Okay, I could take that.
We've met some very unreasonable people in our lifetimes. Not everybody's. No,
I could agree with that. That's true. We didn't hear her side, so that's true. I would agree with that. I just thought it was odd. And then the next thing that I was thinking about was the Valencia Tavern.
Yes.
And the young lady was saying how, I can't understand why you wouldn't want. We have enough building, like the lady Nancy said. Like let's deal with the building we have already. Let's get that up.
The millennial who got up there and said, I don't want to see a missed opportunity. You need to make sure that this is affordable for people like me, because they're not. Which I gotta say, they gotta stop using the word affordable.
Because they take that. Because it's a falsified claim. Yep. Because they take the average of the median income surrounding a certain area. Right. So guess what? That's not really affordable for everyone. So you really need to stop saying that. But not to mention, We have enough building going on. I don't care if it's affordable. I don't care if it's senior. I don't care if it's for Donald Duck. This place was not built for all these buildings. What happens to an infrastructure once you keep building on top of it? It implodes. That's it. It implodes. It has nothing else to do. So when are we gonna stop? Let's not ask for more housing until we get the housing that's already signed off and basically delivered, and then we can go from there.
Everywhere. Valencia. He said it was the second oldest. I mean, my family has history to the Valencia. When my grandfather came here, he started Knight's Taxi in Huntington, and his big hangout. His hangout, my grandmother's hangout, was the Valencia. I have pictures in my little bucket right over next to me here, old pictures of them at the Valencia parties at the Valencia. That was such a long time ago, but it's a part of this town. It's part of history, and you just want to tear it down and build apartments.
My husband's uncle mops the floor. But you know what? No, he does. They call it church on Sunday. It's the cutest thing. I don't think he does it anymore. He's gotten a little older. But the truth is, though, if you have the $1 million or whatever to buy a piece of property, under our current laws, you have the right to develop it within the current zone. So what's wrong with it is the zone change that they're asking for. It should be kept as a bar, but nobody has the right to say that it can't be. And I hate to say that, but unless it is put on the historical landmarks, unless they're going to get a historical designation for the building, there's already been a sale between the buyer, which, by the way, I believe, and I hope this is the correct information, it's Don Monte. He developed the apartments on the other side.
Does it sound so familiar? I know the name.
Of course, the station.
Yes.
Developers. They're supposed to be revitalizing Huntington Station, but he's doing a lot more down past the village in Hale site than he's doing up here in Huntington Station under a different name. The apartments on the other side, I forget what they're called. They're called something Creek condos. We call them Crap Creek condos because they're located across the street from the sewer plant. So we've always just called them Crap Creek condos, and I don't even know what else to call them anymore. There's something Creek condos, though. So anyways, they want to build those on the other side and sell them for more money because then there'll be waterfront apartments. And it's not just the Valencia, it's all those properties all down that road there for sale. And he's rumored to be buying them all.
Well, and what about Milldam? Are they going to go into Milldam?
And you know how many people want that whole walkable, like they want a boardwalk? No, you're going to get apartments overlooking it. That's what you're going to get right on your marina. Right next door to the sewage treatment plant.
And what about all the other houses on the other side? That's their view out their window now.
Oh, well, too bad. So sad.
Holy hell. Oh my God.
Yeah, see, I don't think things like that are, and I don't want to, I'm probably going to take a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. You got to live where you can afford.
I agree.
Everywhere we go is not going to be affordable housing. So if you can't afford to live in Huntington, you don't live in Huntington. You live where you can afford. I used to work for Elmhurst.
Huntington.
Yeah, you have to go. I used to work in Elmhurst, Queens. I worked for Elmhurst Hospital. I would travel. I lived in Huntington, but I would travel to Elmhurst. I didn't try to find an apartment in Elmhurst because I don't like the area. It's too congested. It's too much. But that was where my job was. So I traveled. I wasn't looking to get affordable housing in Elmhurst. I wasn't looking to get anything. This is where I wanted my kids to go to school. So then I did what normal people do. I commuted every day to and from. But, they throw that word affordable around. Unfortunately, I would love to live in Southampton off the water. I would love that. But guess what? I can't afford it. So I don't live there.
I want a boat too.
Yeah. I would like to have a nice little boat house.
To my house. I want all of it.
I would love that, but I can't, I can't afford it. So guess what? I don't live there. I drive through there, but I don't live there. You know what I mean? So we have to keep these things in mind. Everywhere is not going to be affordable. That's just how it is,
Entitlement's out of control, huh?
Yeah, and it's like we
What's the likelihood, honestly, what's the likelihood of all those well over $2,000 apartments? Do you really think, in your own opinion, that they're going to just fill up like that?
No.
That there's a line of people waiting outside that can afford that money? Because I want their job if they can.
First of all, the Village is nice, especially in the summer. That aside,
what is there to do besides eat and drink?
Yeah, I'm like, it's not like
there's
New
nothing
York
else
City.
to
drive around, look for a parking spot, and drive around
looking for a parking spot. That's
it. That's it. It's not like New York City where you have so many other avenues to explore, and they're open much later than we are into the evening and morning hours. So it's not like you can't
even get gas after a certain time because we have a law in our town that you can't pump your own damn gas.
Yeah.
So after a certain time, you can't even get gas.
I think it's 11 o'clock that they all close, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can't even drive around looking for a parking spot if you're low on gas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't know who they think. Like, even with Avalon Bay and the houses that are now across from Avalon Bay, they're lovely. I'm not talking about Avalon Bay because I'm not a fan of how they
Huntington Country Farms. It's right across.
Right. Yes. Right. Those houses are really nice. I like them. I think that the concept is beautiful. I don't want to live there though. Look at the neighborhood. So unless
you want to live next to the train station.
Yeah, that's another thing. And the Armory is. I'm like, this is too much. It's too much. I like quietness. I like for my neighbor to have to take a little walk before they get to my house. I don't want you to be able just to turn here. So, I mean, I don't know. And how many of those apartments are going to go vacant because who can afford to live there? Or who wants to live in that area? Go there in the summertime when you have, some unsavory characters roaming around. And you're just like, I'm not getting out my car over here. I have like my kids' shopping bags. I'm doing 800 things. I don't have time to be looking around too. I don't know. A lot of things are just like, you're just trying to do too much. You're just trying to do too much.
You know what it is? There's so many things that are down the pike that aren't even built yet, that have been approved.
I know. That's what
and the ones that are even kind of built, they're not full. They're not rented. Right. There's no commercial space.
Right. So we're going to hope.
All you hear about is we need to revitalize Huntington Station. To revitalize Huntington Station for 30 years. I was floored. I love Dr. Sforza. He got up tonight and he spoke about how institutional knowledge helped finally revitalize Huntington Station. We got one building over here. All the construction is going on in the Village. We have nothing. And it's not even completed. They're still building it.
Yeah, and I heard that they were going to build on top of like Mondays. I'm saying it right. Mondays.
Classic Galleries, 108 apartments.
They've already approved that, right?
Yes.
Well,
no, I don't think that one's been approved. I don't know if we'll have to find out. I'm not sure. That was the plans that were submitted. I'd have to circle back and go check. I know that the Sobel vacuum deal fell through. I don't know about Signature Galleries.
That's just crazy. Like, we had a little town. It was like a little treat for those of us who lived over here to take the kids down to the Village, especially in the summer. I remember going to Lloyd Harbor, going into the beach with my children. I remember going to Kilwins with them. All those little spots, Rose's Pizzas, we just did those things in the summertime. Yeah. Now it's just like, I'm not going to go all the way over there for all that. It's going to be jam-packed.
You find parking. I can't bother. Let's go to Green Lawn and run our errands and go home. Because truthfully, what is there to do with kids, with the exception of some moms that got really creative, Kelly Donovan with Craft Tree and those types of things. But even the painting store is gone now. There's
it's nothing unless you, like, my kids love to always go to different restaurants. But after a while, like, we like to go places after the restaurants. You know what I mean? We don't have anything to do. I think the last place we went to, because I collect dolls, was Switzerland, Little Switzerland, I think it's called.
Oh
But
yeah.
even then, the finding parking was ridiculous, and it was just like, it was too many people. It was just so much going on that it was no longer pleasurable to even go down there. You know what I mean? We could just walk along the side. I remember they had all these like little nice little shops, mom and pop shops. I appreciate things like that.
I do
We
too.
don't
Too.
we
Like
don't
down
have
in
that.
Cold Spring, they had the little mouse house, the lady with all the little miniature mice and little
Yeah.
houses.
You see those
It's
little
gone.
things.
I love
All of
stuff
our
like
great
that.
things, like the Mediterranean snack bar with the Greek
I
food,
know.
they're gone. Signature
I saw
Galleries,
today.
you realize it's going to take away Mondays? Like, Mondays has pictures of Mondays from so many Mondays ago. It's Mondays. It's Mondays. Like, most people don't get it. Like, it's a kid-friendly ice cream shop with the old-fashioned...
They
We
used to
always
have the
get the
best blueberry
Sundays.
muffins. The best blueberry muffins. When I could drive down to the village, park, jump in, get a big fat blueberry muffin, get back in the car, and go home in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I
Can't do
remember
that
though.
now.
No, you
Can't do
can't do any of that. I remember
Yeah.
even when the kids, this is before they went off to college. We used to go every Friday night in the summer to Rosa's Pizza. I love Rosa's Pizza.
Mhm.
They prefer Little Vincent's, but I always like Rosa's. So we would go there and we would have our little pizza pie. We get the little pie. They bring us to the table. They knew us. We knew them. And then we would go by to Lloyd Beach. You know, we just have a little good time, Lloyd Harbor Beach or whatever. It was really good. We enjoyed it. We loved being just with everybody. Now I can't even find parking to go to Rosa's Pizza. My kids are like, it's too many people here. I don't even want to be bothered. And they're grown now. You know, they're adults. They're like, I don't want to be bothered. So it takes away from what we once we, something we once loved and adored.
It
I
does.
don't
All
know.
those memories you created.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does.
I'm not happy about it.
In the next couple of weeks, we're gonna do a live broadcast and go down to the village. We'll pick a spot that we want to go to, and we'll actually see in real time how long it takes us to find a parking spot.
Yes.
And we could broadcast and we could do a little snippet on the place that we go find to eat at. That's a good idea too. Like we gave, what's the place we ate at today?
Rob Keys.
Rob Keys. That was a nice little spot.
And it's only, I didn't like our little film that we made today, but Lisa, why don't you go ahead while I figure out why we're not online right now and tell everybody about Rob Keys. Since you're
Rob Keys was awesome today. It's on the corner. It's Fort Salonga Road and 25A. And their specialty for lunch is $12.95 dishes, and the portions were amazing. We had to take some of our food home because we couldn't finish it all. I'm definitely going to go back there. Definitely going to go back. It was great.
We all had
First
to take
time I'd
food
ever
home.
been there. I loved it.
Yes.
I like the ambiance of the restaurant. It was nice and quaint. I really liked it. I had a good time.
It was small. I like small and personal places because the people get to know you. They know what you like. They know what you don't like. You get a sense of like people are cooking with passion, and it's just not like an assembly line. You throw this on the plate, you throw that on the plate. The food in itself was really good. The waiter was very pleasant. The staff in general was really good. I had chicken parm and pasta, which was good. It was flavorful. It was a large portion. Oh my god. That was really, but for $12.95, you can't beat that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had a huge panini. Excuse me, the skirt steak panini with grilled onions and mozzarella, with the big portion of French fries and some coleslaw.
And it was a huge panini. It wasn't like the half panini that they try to sell you for lunch that they cut in half.
With a nice slice of steak in it.
It was huge.
It had nice big chunks of steak. It was delicious. I was very pleased. I'll definitely be back.
That was cool. I like that too.
And Dana, we met for lunch earlier today. I think we were talking about Rashi, aka Keith.
Yes. The Good Eats Grill.
talking about the Good Eats Grill, and we had an opportunity to hook up real quick and give an interview with him.
Yes.
So go ahead and
Was this yesterday? You guys
this
went to him yesterday or the day before?
Saturday.
Oh,
It was Saturday.
Saturday.
Hi, this is Dana from Be the Media, and I'm here with Keith from the Good Eats Grill Truck in Huntington.
Hey, how's it going?
He's a local business owner. He has his food truck. He has many delicious items to pick from. How was your sales today?
Sales was actually pretty good. We did well due to the weather, and hopefully, for the most part, we have more locals coming to support our truck.
What are some of the food items that you have? Not the basic ones, but what are some of the things that you specialize in?
So I normally do Southern comfort food, but like I said as well, I'm a certified chef, so I can pretty much create any dish. On Saturdays, I try to stick with what customers are familiar with as far as soul food or Southern cuisine. You can get 3 cheese mac and cheese, fried fish, buttermilk fried chicken sandwich. Sometimes I also do Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays, and either or. I always switch it up. And just keep on a weekly basis in contact with the truck, and you'll be able to. I can provide you with our weekly specials, daily specials.
And what about your vegan or vegetarian customers? Do you have something to accommodate them?
Yes. We have a veggie burger, or sometimes, like I said, on the weekends, we do daily specials. So we can have a vegan or vegetarian special. Just give us a call. And for the most part, you can also check us out, 631-455-3054 if you'd like to place any orders.
All right.
And where is he located again? How can I find him?
Let me show my dog bone again.
He is on Saturdays. He's usually at 23 Railroad Street,
which is across from the Huntington Community First Aid Squad, little catty corner to it, which is across the street from the non-veterans housing that we bring you so frequently. Been waiting for the veterans housing, so it's right on that same road. I think Lisa and I decided we were going to go stand on that big hill this week. And
don't fall in.
How much progress has been made since the last time we were there 8 months ago.
The only progress that's been made is the weeds are astronomically high.
Crazy. Does anybody have, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We have about 3 more minutes left. Do you have any more businesses that we want to promote? Oh, I have the Rob Keys.
Oh, just the Rob Keys.
In case anybody wanted the address. They have such good food.
They did.
Oh my God,
I'm going to try the truck. I'm going to try the truck this week. That sounds great.
Yeah, the food is really good.
That sounds
he
good.
always has I think this week I had the chicken, the buttermilk chicken, and French fries.
Sounds good.
It was good. Jenny, what did you have?
Oh my God, the macaroni and cheese has like just enough jalapeno to make it like without being. It was so good. It was, and it's homemade, like you could tell. My husband hates fish, loved his fish. I had the fried fish, and I had the grilled chicken because my kids just eat carbs all the time and chicken. They loved it. They loved the chicken. But my husband, who hates fish, he was like, the fish is so good. He has this sauce. What was it called? His smash sauce?
Smash sauce.
Oh, so good. Like anything, just dip it on.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. So,
good.
Yeah.
And his prices are
reasonable. I've never heard of this person until now. Until you did the video. I've never heard of this person. I never knew that was around.
Well, we spoke about it like a couple weeks ago. It's one of those things. It's like, knock on the red door. He parks outside. It's his father's house, I think, right?
I don't even know. I just know where he's at.
Different locations in different parts. He's in Queens one day, but he's in Huntington on the weekends.
Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Saturday Railroad
Street. A big sign outside, and yeah, he's got great food for really good prices.
Yeah, and it's a decent amount, so
yeah,
it's worth it. It's worth it. It's really worth it.
Totally worth it. One final shout out. I needed to have some stuff appraised. I went to see this guy. It's in cursive, it's hard to, but his name is David.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the only certified gemologists on Long Island that
Oh wow.
find these little numbers that are on diamonds and stuff. So anyways, he was so great. And he's right next to it's at 256 Main Street. He was so patient and just so kind. And he took his time to explain to me about what we were doing with the appraisal and stuff. I recommend to anybody, because I had my wedding ring appraised, and to add it onto my insurance, because when I was gone for 2 weeks, we had misplaced it and it got lost. There was a reward. I gave a reward to my son. He got $20. He found my ring. But I decided then on I was going to go ahead and have it appraised and put it under my homeowner's insurance in case anything ever
Something happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. But one thing that was so crazy, I just wanted to throw this tidbit out there, that apparently diamonds are doubling. I bought mine it's doubled in its worth since I've been married, since 2003. 4. I got married. Oh, he's going to kill me too. I got married between my kids. So 2004. And it's doubled. And I thought the reasoning behind it was just insane. It's because millennials aren't getting married and they aren't buying jewelry. So the supply and demand is down, and they aren't buying certain stones. So ladies, if you have any round diamonds, they have over the last 10 years doubled in value, which is crazy. But this guy, he'll get you a great appraisal. If you have any jewelry laying around, he doesn't fix it. He just tells you how much it's worth, which is still kind of cool though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
So we'll be back next Tuesday.
Definitely.
Hopefully we're gonna start kicking our time up, as long as there's not a town board meeting. And then we're gonna take it the other way. But it's always a great night with you girls.
It's always good information.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts, anyone?
I learn something every week.
I would agree. Town hall is fun. The meetings are interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Mark is just such a... So on that note, I guess we'll all see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
Our usual time, 9:45 to 4:45. Otherwise, we'll let you know if we can come to you a little bit earlier.
4:45, Jenny?
9.
You said 9:45 to 4:45.
I was trying to segue with the see you next Tuesday.
I'm like, wait a minute, we're not going to be on that long.
See you next Tuesday, Mark.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh,
we'll see everyone here next Tuesday, same time, same channel, maybe a little earlier. And we hope that everyone has enjoyed the Huntington View. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Bye, guys.